Hey there, it's time for the show, the Tatiana Show, where you make friends and talk life and crypto. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tatiana Show. This is our Happening Day special. Having Day, happening. There's a lot of angry feelings about the title of this event, but I don't think it makes that big of a difference. I'm here with my handsome co-host. Hello, Josh Agala of Voltoro, Lord of Gold and Bitcoin. How are you today?
Good, my dearest. Good. We have 6 blocks to go. That's on an average of 60 minutes. That's 1 hour. Of course, the last few blocks have just been smashing it through because every miner is just turning it on going, I want the last of that 12.5, man. Give me some of that 12.5.
Do they get like a prize for getting the last block? Like, are those more special, those coins? I don't think so.
Well, you know, you could say Bitcoin is collectible in a way. You know, if you don't spend them, you say, yeah, man, this was one of the original on the Halvening.
It could be. You could have like keep it like this is from this coin base at this time, and I'm not going to this one.
Right on. Hey, but let's introduce the yoga mat.
I know, because everybody's going to be concerned. They're going to be like, this poor guy, he's in a burning room. Whatever shall he do?
This is fine. We're fine here. This is fine.
Guys, this is my friend Matt McKibbin. We've been friends for ages, from the Ron Paul days. He's come to join us. We're going to talk about AMMA healing. He's one of the co-founders over there, but he's also done a ton of stuff in the crypto space. Thank you so much, Matt, for joining us on the show today.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's been a really long time. We've been hanging out for 2 happenings for 8 years. 2012 was when I met you in the Ron Paul days. You did the, like, with Adam Kokesh, you did like the after Ron Paul event concert or whatever, which was really cool.
And that's when I first learned about Bitcoin. Tony Galippi, well, I had learned about it before, but Tony Galippi and Stephen Pear, they sponsored that performance down in Tampa, and then they came to New York and told me all about crypto. And it was.
Did you guys dance?
I was so depressed. I was so sad because I figured out that the presidential elections were rigged, and I saw what happened to Ron Paul. And I was like, this is when America dies.
So rigged.
So sad.
I kind of like that we learned enough about sound money and the kind of system. And then we had this, like, at least for me, I had a moment where I was like, all right, obviously Ron Paul is not getting elected to the presidency. What's next? Like, how do we actually build a new system? And that was what really got me into cryptocurrencies, because I was, like, tired of, like, just complaining about older, systems that were super corrupt and saying, all right, well, how do we make better ones that are more efficient and transparent and all the values that we gain? And that was Bitcoin. So it kind of gave birth to all those people looking for something else after that movement.
Yeah.
So dope. I remember being in Australia watching Ron Paul, and, like, being an Australian, you can't do anything. You're like, why do I give a shit about the American elections so much? But I just did, because when America coughs, everyone, catches COVID. So, like, it was amazing watching these people crowdsource a blimp into the air and bring it across. And everyone, oh man, it was a really great time to watch the education flowing. And that's what you were talking about, Matt. The education was really flowing out of that campaign. So it really didn't matter that he didn't get elected. Actually, it showcased exactly what you said, Tatiana. The elections are rigged. He had so many more people turning out at every single thing. The whole Tea Party came out of that whole thing. And he never even got any gratitude for that either. It just turned into some sort of redneck fest instead. But it was... eventually
it brought us together. It brought the core people, the core philosophical group of people that believed in it together to work on the next thing. And that was the culmination of that movement. I mean, even Ron Paul came to Satoshi Roundtable, a couple of years ago, which, kind of like to see what he had birthed in a big way.
Yeah,
So
I
cool.
got to sit at dinner with him and Carol at that Satoshi Roundtable. That was a fun event for sure.
I saw him I have a picture of his face. Oh, there it is. I have the Satoshi Roundtable T-shirt on.
Josh has gin. I have no Satoshi
You
swag
got
on me.
the Bitcoin tattoo underneath that we can't see right now, right? Somewhere, even if it's a fake one. And I have a picture of Ron Paul's face looking at the patches, the sad clown, and he's like, shit.
And so amazing, and really to see the birth of the ideologues coming from youth, and the youth that moved and followed Ron's message, and his beautiful way of communicating the ideals of Austrian economic theory, and then suddenly people turning around and going, hang on a minute, we've got a digital version of gold? That really resonates with me as a millennial, or as a someone in our generations. And it was really amazing to see so many young people follow such an old dude. Really so good. I don't think we'll see it again. And we're sort of seeing it with Bernie Sanders a little bit.
Nobody, listen, can we never do that again? No. Ron Paul and Bernie Sanders are completely different. Ron Paul
totally different.
Never supported anybody that was a loser. Bernie sold out every time, took everybody's money. Just because they're both old, no. And I will say that, with the Ron Paul people, they have a little bit more of a consistent ideology. The Bernie people go basically one level. It was very sad to see some of the libertarians jump. Yeah. Sorry to go so anti, but no, Bernie sucks. He took all that money from all those poor little doofuses. They could have put that money into Bitcoin and freaking had something for their cash instead of giving it to freaking old ass Bernie. Forget that guy.
No, the reason I compared
to China.
The reason why I compared them is because they had the same sort of following, the passionate. When I talked about it, I don't really think that Bernie's ideals were right, but I can see that at least he brought up the passion in young people to think about economic theory, even though the economic theory is totally la-la
They think
land.
about horrible, murderous kinds of economic theory. I'm not giving them credit for this. I'm sorry. They need to take a step further, because his economic fervor that he incites is sort of akin to, other scary things that lead you down the path of death. So I'm not enthusiastic about his enthusiastic supporter.
Hey, I'm living in Berlin, man. This is where we had the East right there. We had people having to buy a car and register the want of a car at birth because it would take 16 years to make because of the socialist. Yeah.
What a thrill. Well, so forget socialism, forget Ron Paul, even though he's the greatest. Let's talk about the happening. Let's talk about Matt. Matt, what have you been doing regarding the culture of crypto? Because, you have been involved with a number of different events. Now you're kind of moving into the healing realm. You go to Burning Man events. You have little crystals that you wear. I'm assuming they bring you some powers. I'd like to know about them. Tell us more. What have you been up to?
We'll switch to the Burning Man since we're talking about it.
No.
So definitely was all involved in D10E and the decentralized movement. That was something that came out of the Ron Paul stuff. Was all right, decentralized governance structures, decentralized money, decentralized whatever type applications for our governance institutions. And that was a pretty awesome event. It ran around the world for a while with Brock. And went to a couple Burning Mans, which is kind of a startup society in itself, experimental governance, we ran a camp that was all on a smart contract, so you could see where all the dues came in and where they went or what they were spent on, so you can make transparent intentional communities. We also gave a 80-hour speaker series on blockchain and decentralization and the philosophy, and no pimping your coins there. But that was fun, the past couple of years. And, the Decentranet is my advisory firm, after D10E had been, investing in token sales since the early ones, right? Ethereum, all that stuff. So really wanted to help, positive impact, transformative tech companies that are using blockchain and not using blockchain help them grow and scale. So disinternet.com is our company there. And then from that, we've had a number of different blockchain companies that we've advised or taken a little tokens or doing a retainer or equity. There's one project that's really interesting right now. It's kind of like a foundations for the decentralized internet. It's called ThreeFold, ThreeFold.io. And so it's complete peer-to-peer internet. You can build, video chats, you can build social networks, you can build like all the nodes that you run. Let's say you're running a Bitcoin node. If you're running it on a server somewhere, right, on AWS, it's not decentralized. You're running it on AWS. So you can run all the types of node infrastructure on their peer-to-peer internet. So that's a really exciting project that we're going to be working with. And then
is it working now? Like, can I do it today? Is it any good? The internet? How do you know if it's strong enough?
It is.
Does it just go to Google?
You can go threefold.io. You can check it out. They're slow launching some of the applications on top. They have a peer-to-peer video chat. So Zoom right now, for example, we've seen so much in the news where Zoom is really insecure, and it's a Chinese company, and they just bought Keybase, actually. So we'll see what happens if they're going to make it more encrypted. But it's still running on centralized servers, and it can still, even if they increase their security, it's not a peer-to-peer application. And so we want applications, and we want applications that where you own all of your data, and it's just you and the protocol, just like Bitcoin. And that's what's happening with ThreeFold.
It really needs to happen, just to interject there. It needs to happen. And there was always these promising projects like MadeSafe and things like this that would come along and say, yeah, we've been working on decentralized internet forever. Yeah. And then it just sort of burns out. It never happens.
MadeSafe is still up. Like, David's out there still. I think that they're still working on it. I don't know what was taking so long. I was super excited.
I just want to use it. I just want to use it.
I'm with you. I mean, sure. I think that's a fair criticism, right? But yeah, because MadeSafe happened right before Tatiana Coin. It was really old school, and no, nothing really panned out with that. But I think they're still working on it. I wonder why it's so difficult to do.
I mean, distributed computing, storage and compute all together is really hard.
Scalability.
And scalability. So, like with this one specifically, they have them combined. There's already 40 million gigabytes of storage out there, and their farmer stuff. Like, they've built the network, and now they're starting to like kind of launch the token and incentivize partners, and they're working with like Hewlett Packard Enterprise and some other stuff. Like, they're not working with small players. But I see that as kind of a culmination of like the own your data movement, with like what happened with like Brittany Kaiser and all the whistleblowing around that, and all these applications that want to actually have you own your data as a person, especially as we move into like really transformative tech. Like, if you're going to plug your brain into like a neural net or like a neural lace, like Elon Musk's thing, you better own that data, right? Like, you don't want Facebook or someone else owning your brain data. That sounds pretty weird.
Yeah, I just saw him on Joe Rogan talking about that. I don't think I'm going to be signing up for that. That seems.
I want to sign up.
You are? So, okay, if you had the level 1, the earliest tester, where would you come in on the?
Well, I mean, right, they're going to start with like people with brain damage. So hopefully that's not where I'm coming in on, because that's how they're going to get approval to say, okay, you have had a stroke, you can't move the left side of your body. How do we maneuver it? But like the level 2 or level 3, where you're going to be able to have like the telepathy, or you're going to be able to your phone itself, you can only, like, that's the bandwidth. Like, you can only enter in so much information. And, thinking about like the Matrix style, like download of a language or download something into your brain, like, yeah.
I can't even imagine that. I'm a little reticent. I would like to live forever, but that seems a little I don't
So
know, you know, a little much for me.
When I was at Burning Man, one of the things that really was a highlight, and it comes across in this story as well, is that I was walking along and this guy goes, "Man, I've been in my tent for 2 days and I've been creating this thing." And I'm like, "Oh, well, what is it? What is it?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he pulls out this blender and sticks it on this table and starts throwing food in. He's like, "Put this on." He put this cap on me. He's like, "Okay, now it's time to meditate. And when you meditate, it blends the smoothie." It sort of registered your alpha waves, and you're like, and of course, so you get it down there, and then when you wake up, and it would stop blending because you suddenly get shocked out of your meditation, and then and you sort of control this, and then you had this like full Yoda blender smoothie. It was just so epic, and it just reminded me of that, you know, controlling the outside world with your brain waves from this crazy dude that emerged from this tent half naked. Yeah, it was
I've seen one of those where you fly like a little drone too. Whenever you get to a meditative state, it starts flying the drone in front of you. Yeah, I mean, who knows what's going to happen in the next 5 years, 10 years. But yeah, I definitely want to plug my brain into I have an email signature on my mobile. You know, someone says like sent via mobile, like please excuse typos. Mine says sent via telepathy, please excuse brain farts. And I figured it's
awesome.
So yeah, that's what's going on in the blockchain decentralization world for me. We have like that kind of client, and then I'm really interested in, you know, we have all this outside technology where we're, you know, creating incentive structures and we're decentralizing, but also the human OS is really important to upgrade as a thing. I think if we fix a lot of the problems with our human operating system, a lot of the other types of systems in the world may change. Like, for example, if people were microdosing, right? If there was a legalized mushroom microdosing, and you're increasing your neurogenesis, like the Paul Stamets kind of stack, or it's increasing your empathy, it's increasing your leadership skills. If we can get millions and millions and millions of people to take their microdoses every day or every other day, then, you know, we might have a chance at like disrupting these old power structures in the world.
I gotta push back a little bit on this, guys, because the thing is that I think that sometimes people are saying, I see a lot of people that are searching for themselves, and then they find psychedelics. And I don't think that that's always the solution. I think that they continue to struggle with the same issues. What do you think is the difference between recreational and therapeutic use of psychedelics, for example?
I would say that the intention and what you go into the ritual, or what you go into the usage of, is the, you know, set and setting are like the two big things for psychedelics, right? And so, like, where are you doing it, and then what is your intention for doing that? And so recreational is like your intention is to go have a good time at a concert, right? And therapeutic is, okay, I have an issue that I want to work on myself, my personal thing, and I'm either with a therapist or I'm not with a therapist, and I go into it and saying, I'm going to work this thing out, or get at least a new perspective on it. And then you have to release that intention. You don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, I mean, macro doses, like big doses, they can be effective for people. They're not great for other people. Like, it's not a panacea by any means, but they're definitely. I mean, I'm more excited for the microdose nootropic kind of stacks that you're not tripping on anything. It's not a psychedelic. It's not a crazy experience, but you can incorporate it into what you take to improve your brain and improve your communication and all of that. And I think that's going to have a much greater effect than the like go all the way into a deep experience for the mass majority of the population.
Yeah, I agree. I fully agree. You know, quick experience with microdosing years and years ago was so nice, because you don't trip, you don't really feel anything. You try to but the thing is, because of the illegal nature of a lot of governments treating this, there's no real standard or way of doing it properly. There really should be a very controlled substance. You weigh yourself, you know exactly what your dosage should be. Instead, it's like, oh, I'm sort of tripping, I better bring it down a bit.
Right.
I got to cut it in half, and you sort of try. And once you get that space, then it's quite amazing, because what starts to happen, correct me if I'm wrong here, Matt, but a lot of the different parts of the brain are talking to each other without, you going crazy into other dimensions. You're just experiencing the world as you should, but you have different inspirations. And plus, you tap into other deeper sides of empathy, deeper sides of laughter, deeper sides of all sorts of things, and also focus. So a lot of us are so ADD these days. I mean, we all grew up with crazy cartoons that flickered and flashed, and then an ad, and then some really bad news story, and then a fantastic feel-good ad, and your whole brains and microdosing really brings that back down to a center, and this is kind of that's what I took away from it.
Yeah, I agree with you. The need the standardization of these types of things, and I think that the underground market will start standardizing them way before any sort of government does. Like Paul Stamets has a stack where he takes I think a couple tenths of a milligram, or a couple tenths of a milligram, and then he uses lion's mane as an extra one, and some niacin. James Fadiman has a protocol. But yeah, I don't think that. I hope one day there is a standardization for these types of things that the mass majority of people can look at, and that kind of leads into a little bit what we're doing with AMMA healing. Not on the psychedelic stuff; it's all completely legal. We're not even using THC. We're using 0.0% THC, but CBD and all the other minor cannabinoids that are found in the hemp plant. So all of us have a built-in chemical relationship with the hemp plant. We have the endocannabinoid system. We have this, ridiculously old system that is found in all types of mammals and other animals, that we have this built-in chemical relationship. And taking one of those chemicals out of context, let's just say CBD, for example, it doesn't necessarily go full into the synergistic effect of the plant intelligence or the plant connection, right? And so with AMMA healing, I like THC. Don't get me wrong, love it. It's great chemical. But we are able to preserve all the different minor beneficial compounds within the hemp plant. And so it's kind of like a cold pressed juice equivalent of hemp. So you get CBD, but you get all the minoroids, the flavonoids, the terpenes, all of that. And you get a calm, cool, focused state shift from that. And so we just one of the things that is, I'll ask you, let you guys ask questions or whatever, but one of the things that we just came out with, which is an alcohol alternative. So you can add, it's called Elevate. So you can add it to any beverage. You add a couple of squirts of it, and within a couple of minutes, you feel elevated social buzz that you like to get with alcohol.
Wow.
But there's no alcohol in it. And if you do drink alcohol, it actually helps your liver process acetaldehyde, and it's a neuroprotectant. So it helps you process the alcohol that you're drinking over the course of the night, and it helps you prevent hangovers and stuff. So, just getting people a little bit healthier, helping upgrade their human OS a little bit at a time.
I love it.
Let me ask you something. So we've had Kevin McKernan on this show many times. He has the medical genomics testing
really smart dude.
lab. Yeah, Kevin's the man. And he also has CannaMed. And I was really surprised at all the different medical uses for cannabis. with THC and without. But how can you actually tell? Because I have friends that say, oh, I take CBD, it helps me with the pain. I don't think it does. I think it's psychosomatic. And I mean, if it works for you that way, fine. But how do you actually test that it's actually doing something, right? I mean, do they have blind taste tests? How do you figure that out?
I mean, so with our products in general, like I don't know about other ones. There's tons of CBD out there that they use high heat and solvent intensive processes to pull the CBD and other things out, which degrades, what's good for you in the plant, which is not just the CBD, but the other 100 beneficial compounds. Like if you're taking any sort of plant extract, if they did a really high heat extraction on it, then you're going to destroy what's good for you. So we have cold and no solvent, and we take a sugar molecule and bind it with the THC and mechanically pull that sludge out. You get THC sugar after that too, which, I mean, it's probably pretty nice. And so, but with our products, like I see it working on people every time I give it to them. Like the Elevate, within a couple of minutes, you have a state shift, which isn't what you get with a lot of products on the market. And it's because they haven't been properly just extracted. Or if they are, there's like small scale batches that are done, but you can't mass produce that type of extraction. So ours can be mass produced. We can produce as much as we want. And I'm happy to send both of you. Josh, where are you? You're in UK or Berlin? Okay. Yeah. Well, I don't know. We'll see if I can get you a sample.
Come on, man. The dark net market can do it. No,
all right, we'll send you a sample. But there's no THC, so it should be fine.
Yeah.
But Tatiana, we'll send you a sample, and I'd love to get your feedback on it because you do have a state shift.
My sister, she has, unfortunately has had a brain tumor for a while, and she had surgery, and she's had terrible headaches for so long because of this. And CBD has absolutely helped. It's definitely not psychosomatic. It's a full state shift. She feels relaxed. The problem is, because it's illegal in Australia, she can't get pure CBD. So she's dealing with all this THC in there, and she's really pissed off about it because she's got 2 kids to deal with. And she's like, man, I don't want to be like out of it all. I want to appreciate my kids when they're young and beautiful, and she's not totally high or anything, but she's like, I can definitely feel the THC. I don't want to, but I want the benefits of the CBD. And this is so unfortunate. This is typical nonsense, garbage, governmental bullcrap to make something so amazing illegal, especially to study. Just make it legal to study, folks. Come on.
They send a lot of money out to other countries to study marijuana and cannabis, and I don't understand why, if they're going to spend our tax dollars, keep it in the family. It's actually quite difficult to study marijuana in the United States because you have to have only certain places that make it, and then if they're contaminated, you have to wait forever. I mean, I don't know. You've been on the show with me, Kevin, Josh, when Kevin's talking about all the different things that they have to go through. It's quite shocking that we would spend money somewhere else and not in our own country to do this work. I mean, it's not like heroin production. I mean, we've got that already covered with the opioid crisis. So they've got the lock on that market.
Still old laws, right? Schedule 1, it's really hard to do things. Josh, there's a store that I know that grows or that has some of our products in Australia.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, hook me up, man.
We'll connect after the show, and I'll make sure to get some of that.
Good stuff. Thank you. Thanks, man. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I think this has been a good segment. We hung out, we came, we saw, we conquered. The blocks are just folding underneath us.
Where's the happening?
We've got 4 blocks left, 32 minutes approximately.
Right.
We're 99.9984123% away from full halving. And what do you think, Matt? Talking about Bitcoin, you've been in a long game, like us all, and every time what the big thing is with block halvenings is that there's just bookended with FUD. That's what I find every time. It's like, ooh, the miners are going to go into a downward spiral because they can't afford this and that. And, first of all, as if you start a business and not look into the future. But Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, so I was looking at it. So that's every single time that we've had the halvening so far, it's gone, it's gone on a bull run over the next kind of year. And that was what the price indicated. So the difference now, and this is more just maturation of the industry, but also just we have massive futures markets now, right? And so we can artificially suppress the price in an institutionalized way easier than we did 4 years ago or 8 years ago, right? And so if there was a nefarious group of institutional money people that wanted to try to push the price down and try to get the miners out, the smaller miners, and then do it, that would be how they would do this. And they wouldn't have to do it too much, right? They'd have to just keep it lower than their profitability for however long, and then they can let it go and do whatever. So I hope that's not what happens. I hope it goes on a bull run. I think there'll be a lot of volatility. Ultimately, the price is going to go up. I mean, we have had crazy amounts of interest, especially from all the money printing from COVID. People are really aware that this existing financial system doesn't work because they're printing trillions of dollars. We have the memes of the Burr.money, the money printer go Burr.
Money printer.
Which didn't exist 4 years ago. It didn't exist 8 years ago. If you were talking to people about the Federal Reserve printing money 8 years ago, they thought you were crazy.
Yeah. You're like, where does money come from? Oh, my boss.
Yeah, my mom.
They're like, what? No.
You guys feel vindicated? Or do we get a prize for knowing the future? I don't feel like
you got Bitcoin early because of that.
That's a Bitcoin early.
I mean,
but if you've been
nice
living
prize.
off of Bitcoin, that's not the greatest thing.
Yeah, if you've been paying your salary off of it, it didn't work that well. But
a lot of people they have to realize the exponentiality, and people don't realize exponentiality. They can't comprehend it. If you look at COVID, there's a perfect example how people cannot comprehend exponentiality. They saw it in Wuhan. They saw it slowly spreading out. I was like, shit, get rice. A bit over-prepared. But nevertheless, I prepared because I can understand exponentiality being in crypto a little bit more than the average bear. But this is the same thing with trillions. So it took America 200 years to get $1 trillion into debt. Now, in the first quarter of this year, the American Fed has printed $3 trillion. So you start to see where these numbers are starting to go out of control, and that just starts to explode crazily. So get yourself the hell out of banks. Get yourself into rare assets, whatever rare asset you can find. If you're not comfortable with Bitcoin, if you're not a technocrat, just get yourself something else, some property or some gold or some silver or some forest. Or
is
something.
Property a good thing right now?
I mean, property can be taken from you, right? So, but it depends. People always need to live somewhere. Matt, what are you?
Yeah, some properties is good. I mean, I would say it's more like intentional, properties out of the mainstream areas of the cities that have something that's self-sustaining. It's a lot of work, but you got to do it.
No, totally. That's a really great point. Sustainability. Plus, you're going to have self-driving cars very soon. So everyone will be starting to shift outside of the city because you don't need to be taking care of this machine all the way for 3 hours. You can just jump in a car, keep working, and you're in the office. So a lot of people will go out more into the country. So, maybe you'll see some.
Maybe more people will move to Austin, Texas.
Austin, Texas, come visit.
Me and Matt were talking about that.
Social distance picnics. It'll be great.
Yeah, I gotta go down to the south.
Social distance picnics.
Awesome.
Hey Matt, before you go, just one last question. What happened to D10E? Great conferences, by the way. I always loved them. I gave a couple of talks at them. They were global. They were amazing.
I worked on it from 2015 to end of 2015. The first one was in 2016 till August of 2017. I did the last one in San Francisco with the Startup Societies Foundation and all the like jurisdictions. I actually then ended up just kind of backing away because it became with the ICO pitch contests. It became different of a conference, and Mike and Brock were different. So I stepped back as kind of an advisor, would send some sponsorships occasionally, but we did 24 events over the course of a couple of years, which is the most
Wow.
Events of any crypto event ever in the world.
That's nuts.
And so, but yeah, they're no longer doing them. Hopefully, maybe they'll have a revitalization. Could do virtual events, truly decentralized. And then there's a lot of other like future of work kind of stuff too, which was one of the main pillars. Like we're seeing that come about. So who knows? Yeah. Maybe the brand will come back. I'd love to do it.
Well, keep me in touch when you do. You're always doing amazing projects. Folks, how can people stay in touch with you?
Yeah,
that's what Tatiana was going to ask. But
you are. Josh knows everything.
Check out AMMAhealing.co is our hemp wellness brand. You can ship anywhere in the United States. We just launched Elevate. So if you're in quarantine and you're drinking too much alcohol, try some of that. You can find me on Facebook or Twitter, Matt_McKibbin. And yeah, just Instagram. I think there's probably a bunch of fake Instagram people that are also, I don't know if you guys had that problem, but yeah, Instagram Matt_McKibbin1. And love to see you out there. Try some Elevate.
Thanks so much, Matt. I'm going to try it out, and then I'm going to take it on the show, and then by the second half of the show, I'll be like, yeah, guys, it's a party.
Hell yeah. We'd love to do it.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
You're going to feel it. You're skeptical. You're going to feel it. You're going to have a crazy, awesome, elevated buzz. By the end, you're going to be like, Matt wasn't lying.
All right. I'm willing to try it. I'm like woo-woo light. I like a little bit of woo with my coffee.
It goes through your esophagus and under your tongue. Like it's not even going through your digestive system. It's going through your smooth muscle and going right into your bloodstream.
I'm going to put it in my eyeballs. That's the real way to take it.
Like Jimi Hendrix with the acid trips. Shit, man.
Thanks so much, Matt. This was really fun. Thanks, Josh. I'll see you soon. What's the point of all this technology without a little love in our lives? Our hosts, Tatiana Moroz, Dr. Stephanie Murphy, and Lauren Kasovitz, have come together to bring you Proof of Love. Go to proofoflovecast.com. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this special segment of The Tatiana Show. Today, we're joined by Consuelo Vanderbilt Costin, a friend of mine in the crypto space for many years now, and we've been sort of iterating and working on. I'm a member of Soho Muse, which is this really cool way of artists and creatives to link together, sort of like a LinkedIn for creatives. And she's been flirting with blockchain, dibbling in there, getting more into it, doing a lot of VR stuff. And I'm going to be doing a performance for Soho Muse in probably the day after you guys hear this episode, so Wednesday, May 20th. And thank you so much, Consuelo, for joining us on The Tatiana Show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so proud of you. What a great and fun show, and love that you're doing this, and happy to be with you.
Yeah, so am I. I'm very, very happy to have you join me. For people who are not familiar with your work, you're a Billboard recording artist and an entrepreneur. Your last single went to number 5 in the U.S. It was just around the time that you had a German tour. And then you've been working on Soho Muse for quite a while. So for people who are unfamiliar with some of your work, give us a little bit of a background and what inspired you to create this network.
So music has been my love, my soul, my everything. I was signed to a major label in the UK, and so I've just had this extraordinary career of working with amazing creatives, from musicians, dancers, video directors, and kind of building out this extraordinary network. And just like how we're meeting this way, I believe that you work with people that you know and that you trust. And so building a vetted community of extraordinary, exceptional creatives has really been just an extraordinary thing about also bridging technology and entertainment into one, because there are many creatives who really don't enjoy technology, don't enjoy building websites, don't want to promote themselves, want things to just happen. It's like, it can't be, so we spent a lot of time and many years really studying and analyzing creatives, where they're using, right, a lot of different sites and why, and just making sure that they feel very supported. So it's been an incredible journey, that's for sure.
Well, I'm happy that you've brought everybody together in this lovely way. So what's been the history of Soho Muse? Because you guys have a lot of users now, and it's invite only. What if somebody's listening to this and they're a creative and they want to come in? They can't?
So, well, good question.
I feel sad for them. I'm like a little bit depressed. I'm in the cool kid club. What if somebody else wants in?
So SohoMuse.com is the website to apply. And look, we are based in 3 tiers, right? So our first tier is for up and coming creatives. So I really spent time going and talking to FIT and other institutions and listening to kids who either are just about to graduate and or kind of trying to find their way. So how do they get internship opportunities? How do they find their mentors and people to aspire to? So we launched in LA actually last year with a company called Entity and Patricia Arquette, who is all for women and young women and supporting women's rights. You would love her. And then tier 2 is for our creative working professionals. And so what does that look like, from Nicole Miller to, we have such a huge variety, makeup artists, hairstylists, actors. So if I was putting together a music video, feature films, independent features, and then we have our Soho Black. We, Soho Muse, never look at one's work, right? We're not elitist about what people do, that just as people would judge my own music, right? But what we do is we judge on what you say that you're working in the field you're in. That's our requirement, right? So that's very important to us because, again, you look at LinkedIn and anyone can post a resume. So I believe you build a vetted, trusted community that way.
Very cool. And so what about the blockchain play? Because we worked together with Tokenly. We did the Milan Breton token, which was very revolutionary, kind of an experiment. The first experiment, I think, of its kind.
Yeah, of its kind, for sure.
Yeah. So how has that evolved since then?
So firstly, and I'm so grateful you curated and created that opportunity for us, because I think that was such, especially coming from the Tatiana coin and everything that you've done and all your knowledge in blockchain. From my perspective and listening and understanding creatives, right? For instance, and this is just, China is what it is, but I went to Shanghai and I had remixes out there that I never even knew existed. I haven't been paid for them. And this happens all the time. So that tracking of music, tracking of, your residuals is an important component. So I really started to look into areas, as I said, that were really important and that we could help to illustrate. So we now have formed our company Muse Tech, which is kind of a subsidiary of Soho Muse, and our blockchain endeavors inside of that. And so we're really focusing in on 3 different areas right now. And so it's an R&D, it's kind of a project of the heart, because I so believe that this now more so, right, is such a timely thing to be doing, and really taking care of creatives at this moment. So yeah, that's where we are.
That's awesome. So you guys have been also venturing into VR, right? Very technologically edgy.
Yes.
What's been going on? You guys had Tiffany as part of this concert series. So tell me about the VR aspect, and then a little bit more about the series.
So I've been in 3D for many years. We actually started out, one of our first prototypes of Soho Muse and our creative network was in 3D environments. At the time, gaming and 3D was really just kind of, that was what was accessible. There's sites like Virtuals and things like that. And 3D technology was very expensive, and people were downloading it. And we were looking at taking and recreating elements of cities where we could help to drive tourism based on our extraordinary members and people going and spending time in different cities. So now we're in this amazing moment where it's actually so real lifelike that we're now housing and taking content making content come to life so you're not having to go to 15 to 20 different sites. Everything's consolidated in one room, especially with the pandemic and social media, like social meetings, now being able to house that in one space, live streaming, embedded video, which has been extraordinary. So 2 days before the Oscars, we launched in LA, our private screening room, 3D environment with 2 of our award-winning Soho Muse members. And it's just amazing. I think that 3D technology in this, just environments coming to life that are so lifelike, I think is absolutely kind of where technology and entertainment are bridging this road. And what I found, so many of our artists right now who are normally touring or who are session musicians, choreographers who aren't working and aren't on tour, we really built a concert series to support our members. And you can either, decide that you want to do it through ticket sales or tips by donation and or to a charity. And each one of our members has made money from this series, which I am so proud that in this moment we've been able to really give back that way.
So I have a question about that, because I've seen different people try to raise money online, and I wonder how sustainable that is. Do you think that people are just being more generous right now because of COVID? Do you think that artists can kind of build that in a sustainable fashion when everybody's, I mean, we're only talking about a small subset, right, of musicians, but people are used to getting music for free. Do you think that they're going to want to keep paying these donation-based, I don't know, just making these donations? Do you think they're going to want to keep doing that? I worry a little bit about people getting a little bit burnt out on that.
Yeah, I would say personally, and it's not just musicians for us, because the site incorporates all different 11 verticals, but no, actually quite the opposite. I think that firstly, you're right about the fact that people aren't paying for ticket sales right now because they are getting everything for free, which then incentivizes them to make donations and tips. So to perform for an hour, right? So what we do in taking care of our artists is not only we're incentivizing while the show's going on, our concierge is helping to do that. And then after the show, we actually send reminders to all the people that attended to really also additionally help to incentivize. I think it's nurturing. I think it's understanding that talent and entertainment aren't working right now and won't be for the next year at least. Really, it's going to be very hard. Most tours have shut down, Live Nation. I mean, there's so much. So this is, you have to give, I mean, our entertainers and our world is where we can escape, right? That's where the magic happens. You got to support them.
Right. Well, I hope so. That's my goal. I mean, as an artist, I certainly find that there's a lot of challenges. And what's nice about the crypto play is that you create new opportunities for revenue. I remember a few years ago, I had a pretty heated conversation on the Tatiana show with Jeffrey Tucker and a friend of mine, John Light. And they were saying that it's considered rent-seeking when an artist wants to be compensated for the work that they've been doing. And I was like, this is a very hard pill to swallow. But they did have some interesting points about how you lose your incentive to continue to work if you're, living fat off the land off of one good song or whatever. So I really was opposed to what they were saying because I'm an artist. I'm like, get out of here. I need to get paid for my work. But I wonder if things will evolve with these other opportunities. Where do you see the blockchain implementation for you guys? Do you think it's just going to be in terms of tracking, or do you think that there's going to be different kinds of other monetization methods from it? Because yes, you can track people's work, you can make donations. What else would you see would be like a good blockchain play, or are you guys still figuring it out? Because the world is changing.
Tokenizing film funds, TV shows, getting people really incentivized into creating opportunities for them to actually take part in a specific content and or project. So that's something in the works right now that we may be actually doing off the record in the next 2 weeks, which is
it's on the record. It's too late now.
Too late now. But yes, there's something very much brewing in that department. Yes. I think music is going to be the biggest challenge. I do in this. It's the hardest one to figure out because it is about licensing and it is about all the royalty plays, right? I think what I started to see was amazing technology actually that in China where they had developed this, that within a 20-second space of a melody, it could pick up and track exactly who the artist was, everything, the foundation of the artist, everything else. That's amazing. Then it allows us a situation where we're not being ripped off and remixers can't go and take it, right? So once that component is really embedded, I think it's going to be huge and a game changer. I do.
Yes, well, I think so too. So what do you guys have planned for upcoming years? I mean, we've sort of touched on it. I know that you have we've got a short segment today. But what do you think is on the horizon? Where do you see things growing?
I believe our 3D components and our distribution elements are huge. I think our partnerships with schools and universities for our tier 1, I think on the union sides for our tier 2, and really cultivating and building and bridging so many job opportunities for our creatives, inspiring them to collaborate, which I think is going to be amazing. And yeah, it's just the world and revolution of Soho Muse as a community and a trusted source. And it's the, it's the power of the movement of the community that is driving this globally. So that's my next steps. I'm excited to be on this crazy road.
Yes, absolutely.
Making tech sexy. That's my job. That is what I do.
Well, it's easy when you bring the creative stuff and the tech stuff together. Have you had a problem explaining some of that tech stuff to the more creative folks? I mean, are they into it?
No, and they think I'm nuts. Like, what? How did you start talking like this? And I don't even understand how it started. I'm like, it's regurgitating information, but I'm logically starting to get it. But look, it takes a long time. It's so left-right brained. But I look, actually, as technology, if you look at it, is actually musical notation, which is so interesting because I'm the worst mathematician on the planet. That's not my area of expertise at all. But
yeah, I also find myself sort of wondering because I used to just sit around and say, ugh, I hate finance people. Ugh, these tech nerds. I don't want to hang out with these people. I was really a snob. And now here I am just immersed in what I was kind of trying to avoid. But I do think that there's so many opportunities. Full circle.
It does. Exactly. Yeah. Yes. And you need to hear Tiffany. She was fantastic. My God. That woman has sold 15 million albums.
Wow. Yeah, I remember when I was a kid. Oh, wait. We lost you.
Personal and being really raw and connecting with your fans and feeling supported. And when it says on Zoom that your internet connection's unstable?
I think it's your internet connection, and
it told me,
yes.
It loves to do that, and I'm like, no, it's not. It's not my internet. It's your. No, I mean not you. It's Zoom. It's your problem.
No, I know. Well, I thought and that's one of the tricky things that makes it really hard to do these VR rooms is everybody's internet isn't really very good. So
This is good. Wait till you see our rooms.
All right. Well, I'm gonna be performing in one of them. Yeah. So can people who are listening to the show, can they just click on a link, or do they have to be a member in order to watch?
No, you can click on a link, and you have all the information there. So absolutely, you should have that link so that people can go. But no, this is public so that the world can come and see you.
Excellent. I can't wait. Thank you so much for coming on the Tatiana Show. Everybody, please.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So really quick, tell everyone where they can connect with you.
SohoMuse.com.
Very good. Okay, but what's the Twitter handle? Because I'm going to be tweeting them and people are listening.
Soho Muse. SOHOMUSE.
Beautiful. What a cool name. I really love it.
Twitter, website, please.
Awesome.
Come join our creative community.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Consuelo. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
The Tatiana Show has been brought to you by CryptoMediaHub.com, a boutique marketing and PR agency for Bitcoin and beyond. Hey there, it's time for the show, the Tatiana Show, where you make friends and talk life and crypto. We gotta think and reflect and use lots of intellect with our hearts when we work together. I I know that it can be so hard out there, looking all around and saying that life ain't fair. So that is why we will fight and stay up late at night, listening to the Tatiana Show. Thank you for listening to the Tatiana Show. Please follow us on Twitter at Queen Tatiana or on Facebook and Instagram at Tatiana Moroz Music. More episodes can be found at thetatianashow.com, and make sure you leave a review on iTunes and tell your friends. You are listening to the Tatiana Show. This show may contain adult content, language, and humor and is intended for mature audiences. If that's not you, please stop listening. Nothing you hear on the Tatiana Show is intended as financial advice, legal advice, or really anything other than entertainment. Take everything you hear with a grain of salt. Oh, and if you're listening to us on an affiliate network, the ideas and views expressed on this show are not necessarily those of the network that you're listening on or of any sponsors or any affiliate products you may hear about on this show.